Imagine being so racist, being so filled with hatred and xenophobia that you possibly single-handedly just destroyed not only the economy of your home state of Georgia, but also the United States relationship with South Korea's government. In case you somehow haven't seen it yet, this is Tori Branham. She's a lady from Georgia, and she claims very proudly online to be the one who called ICE on the Hyundai plant there in Georgia. If you go to her page, she is fighting for her life trying to defend herself because people are telling her how stupid what she did was. Not only is she proud of the fact that she got hundreds of individuals detained by ICE, she keeps doubling down that she did this out of kindness and care for the people who were working there. She claims they were being paid, quote, slave wages. How she would know that, I have no idea. She thinks that these people were possibly even trafficked in by Korea and therefore needed rescuing. Right, because we know that ICE in the United States, especially right now, is known for rescuing people. Furthermore, she keeps claiming that billions of dollars had been gifted by the government to create this factory, this battery factory for Hyundai down there in Georgia. And instead of hiring locals, they are just bringing in Koreans to do the job. So they lied to us. What she somehow doesn't seem to conceptualize is that the factory is still being built. It's not built yet. They're creating it currently. So all of those people that were there from Korea and working were probably, one, skilled laborers and or architects and or engineers who probably are being paid quite well, and they are there to do jobs that quite literally the locals in that area could not do or wouldn't have enough people with the right training to be able to do it themselves. When a company is creating a new factory or fabrication site, they're going to send people in from their existing places and their corporate, branches to go in and get it started. Then, once the plant is up and running, you're going to start hiring local people to work there. So, Tori, not only did you potentially put hundreds of Koreans in real danger in the hands of ICE, not only did you single-handedly sour relations between Korea and the USA, you may have actually cost your state billions of dollars and cost hundreds, maybe even thousands of Georgians good paying jobs in the future when the factory will be ready to be productional. You know what I mean? This is wild. Oh, by the way, she's running for Congress.
You don't need to fit into America. America was never built for you to fit in. And honestly, it will never fully accept you trying to fit in either. A lot of Chinese students come here with a test-taking mindset. We treat America like it's an exam. We study it, analyze it, try to become the perfect answer. We change our names, speak broken English on purpose, even act like we're second-gen Asian American, when we're not. But here's the truth. America doesn't reward people who blend in. It respects people who build their own space. Someone who leads and not follow. Look at the other groups, Irish, Italians, Druze, Russians, Indians. They don't try to erase the culture to fit in. They build strong communities, support each other, protect their identity, and claim their power. That's why they have their own neighborhoods, their own resources, and even political influence. Meanwhile, so many Chinese students and scholars try to wash themselves, erase the culture, speak only English, act like they belong here more than they actually do. But in the end, they still get called chick on the street. Why? Because they never learn to build their own space. They only learn to assimilate into someone else's. Here's what people don't tell you. In America, even if you're weak, you have to act strong. Fake it till you make it is real. This place respects confidence, even if it's fake. If you walk in soft-spoken, overly humble, always apologizing, people won't think you're kind. They'll think you're easy to ignore. So no, don't try to find your place. Make your place. Don't wait for permission. Don't beg to be included. Create your own room, build your own rules, and let others fit into your world. That's how you survive and thrive here.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, Africans. I hope you're doing fair where you are, and if you're not doing fine and fair, please do well where you are. You know, in this world, we have people who are built with bitterness. Yeah? It might be bitterness that is caused by the struggles of life. It might be bitterness that is caused by you seeing someone else having something that you don't have. At the same time, it might be a bitterness that is being caused by just you. You just want everything for yourself and you just don't have love for other people. You know, sometimes bitterness is not caused by you lacking. It's caused by you hating someone else for no reason, you know. The reason why I'm saying this is that by now, I know you've already heard, perhaps if you haven't, there is this company called Hyundai. Hyundai is a motor vehicle company that is originates from South Korea. Yes. So we've had many South Koreans working in this factory called Hyundai, which is located now in Georgia. Georgia is now where we have a branch of it. Think of like Volkswagen, think of BMW, think of Toyotas, right? These specific cars have different branches around the world. Think of KFC, think of McDonald's, right? So the same way is with Hyundai. And Hyundai has employed so many of these South Koreans, and it has also employed, we call them Americans, right? Both black Americans, white Americans, the Hispanics, the Latinas. This company has employed all of these, right? So there's a woman who has taken it upon herself to go and report that company that it is hosting immigrants, illegal immigrants. And you know Trump with immigrants, right? It's like fire and petrol, right? So this woman reports this company, and you know what happens? Raid. ICE comes and then they raid this specific company, right? They invade the company and they deport close to 500 people. Some figures are saying it was 475. Some figures are saying it was close to 500. Okay, let's just put 500, okay? People have been deported back to South Korea, right? Some of these people are people who came to US after the Second World War, and they lived here and they were nurtured here. They became citizens by naturalization. But now it has all been taken away from them, and now they are becoming outsiders. They are not becoming citizens. So I want us to listen to this whole story. I shall get back by the end of the video, of course, where I shall give you my deep critical analysis. Let's dive in.
There is a critical detail that is being left out of every American news outlet that's reporting on this. And that's the fact that the part of the plant that got raided the other day is the part of the plant that makes batteries for electric vehicles, which isn't even operational yet, not till early 2026. And that might not seem like an important detail to many people, but it leaves the story open to so much interpretation of people thinking things like this, that this South Korean company just came to America and instead of hiring American workers, that they just illegally brought people via like shipping containers or something. And a lot of people don't know this because I never talk about it here, but at my last corporate job at Red Bull, one of my many responsibilities was expansions, which meant that anytime Red Bull wanted to expand, whether their headquarters or warehouse and operations, I was a part of the team that made that happen. And just like any corporate expansion, like let's say a new McDonald's pops up, when McDonald's comes into town, they don't just hire brand new people from that town and just go, well, I hope they know what they're doing and I hope it's up to McDonald's standards. No, they take their most tenured, seniored, and experienced people within McDonald's and they send them to that brand new location to not only set up the location, make sure all the machinery and everything they need is there, but then they hire and train all the brand new employees for months. And that's exactly what they were doing. There were so many Korean people there at that plant, not because they were taking away American jobs, because again, there is literally no job to be done because they're not even in production yet. They're literally there setting up the factories and getting ready to start hiring people and training them. And this was confirmed in Korea, by the way. This is from Korean news outlets where they stated that 47 people were from LG and 250 people were for the suppliers for that plant, which means that they were literally all there setting up the logistics for this plant when they become operational next year. In addition, when a country like South Korea is like, hey US, we want to invest $350 billion into your economy by forcing Korean companies to set up industries in the United States, and the United States is like, yeah, we'll accept your money. But then our government spends all year literally being a circus, cutting departments that are essential to realizing that $350 billion investment by allowing people from South Korea to be able to come and make sure that it's set up, which again is literally what happened, which is literally why there were people like engineers that were there who had to get creative doing things like using the visa waiver program, which allows them to legally be in the United States for up to 90 days to either do business or tourism, to again attend business meetings and be there for less than 2 weeks, but then they end up getting detained anyway? And Hyundai, I know I'm nobody to you, even though you're about to enter into a $5 billion joint venture with my family's company, SK. I think you should take those 15,000 plus jobs that you're about to create in Georgia and take it somewhere. I can't remember the name of the country, but I swear there's a country that is about to have an influx of people living there who are going to be...
This is how Korea is reacting to the ICE raids at the Hyundai LG battery plant in Georgia. Here's the thing, this was my first job in US. Here I worked as an interpreter and I cannot believe this is happening at the place where I started my career. The US was literally begging Korea for more investment, and now they are arresting hundreds of South Korean business travelers who came here to help build American infrastructure. Korea is not used to being targeted like this, so I'm very annoying as Korean. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments.
Now, yes, I understand that the workers in Georgia are Korean, but I want to bring up the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 because it's one of the clearest examples of how Asian immigrant labor has also historically been scapegoated in this country. This was the first major U.S. law to ban immigration based on race and nationality. White workers then also claimed, oh, these Asian immigrants are stealing our jobs and they're driving down wages. Politicians back then framed the ban as protecting American laborers. But here's the truth. Asian immigrants were doing dangerous low-paid work that white workers often refused, like building railroads or working in mines. So fast forward, in the United States, Georgia, in 2025, a white woman uses the same script, but instead she calls ICE and says she's helping South Korean workers. But what she's really saying is, I don't like that these jobs aren't going to people that look like me. That's resentment dressed up as rescue. And it's all connected. Y'all are calling ICE on immigrants, marginalized people, to get them out of here for jobs that y'all aren't even qualified to do in the first place, or y'all have historically been refusing to do at all. At all. Only thing that she was looking to protect was white power and white privilege.
So y'all, apparently ICE is not just looking for black and brown people. They just had the largest single site raid in ICE's 22-year history, and they were looking for South Koreans. Child, if you don't know, so Hyundai makes electric vehicles, and their largest manufacturing plant is right outside of Savannah, Georgia. It's where they make the batteries. Y'all, ICE has been apparently researching this and investigating for months, and went today as a collaborative effort. They had everybody there, y'all. They had the FBI, DEA, ATF, Georgia State Patrol. Of course, ICE was there. I might be missing somebody, but it was all hands on deck. And honestly, when I think about it, with having that many agencies makes me think that there might be a rabbit hole here. There's got to be a little something more to the story. Anywho, the people that were there, they arrested 475 people. Huge. Most of them were from South Korea. They were people who were on visa waivers, so they were not supposed to be working in the U.S., people who had overstayed their visa, and people who were just here illegally. Y'all, they were checking the people's documents on site and rounding the people up. They have the people housed somewhere here in Georgia. I'm not sure exactly where. And they said local news has been reporting about this for over a year because previous employees had been calling to report it. So I guess people were mad that the South Koreans came and took their jobs. The funniest thing to me, y'all, when I was trying to research this, you know who's talking about it the most? Hispanics.
A Hyundai plant in Savannah, Georgia was just raided by ICE. It detained about 500 people and over 300 of them were Korean nationals. Like, this is major. So a couple months ago when China, Japan, and Korea had a little meeting and we were all just like, that is wild given the history. Like, the Korean government, like, they are not going to be happy about this. And this is just like another pebble in the pail toward perhaps Korea pushing against U.S. military occupation. Because it's interesting, like growing up Korean in America, like we're fed this lie about the U.S. in Korea, how like the U.S. like liberated us. But when you actually look at the history, baby, it's like so far from the truth. I don't know. Also, I miss 101, wearing my 101 t-shirt today. This was never about immigrating here legally because all these Korean nationals were here legally working, building infrastructure for the U.S. on American soil. And if they can be detained, if you're Korean living in the United States right now and you don't think that this has anything to do with you or you're not bothered by this, baby, you better gird your loins.
The investigation resulted in the arrest of 475 individuals.
Of the 475, how many were Korean nationals? The Korean media are reporting as many as 300.
There was a majority of Korean nationals from the 475. As we had determined through our investigation in advance and certainly experienced yesterday, there was a network of subcontractors and subcontractors for the subcontractors there. So the employees worked for a variety of different companies that were on the site. It was not just the parent company, but also subcontractors, and we're unveiling that.
Did you know the South Koreans that were detained by ICE at Hyundai this week were actually here legally, training Americans on how to do their jobs? Yep, that is true. Hi, if you're new here, I own a recruiting firm and we serve food manufacturing, and I'm talking to leaders in food all day long. And honestly, I should really start a series on what I'm hearing from the trenches. And I'm going to tell you a little story time. And I really hope that you can interact with this post because I need America to know what's happening in the manufacturing industry right now. So I was talking to one of my meat processing clients. If you've ever eaten at Subway, then you have eaten their products. And they had to let go 90 of their workforce. And they were all here on legal visas. Legal visas. They came here legally and they didn't expire until 2026, but our administration canceled that program. So poof, gone, they are out the door and they are struggling to try to replace them. And then 25% of their remaining workforce, they're actually not, they're non-citizens. So leadership is sitting there like, well, what do we do next? How can you grow? How can you strategize? How can you make a business decision about your future when you don't even know if your current employees are going to be able to legally clock in tomorrow? So food companies and especially meat companies, they're so desperate to recruit. They offer free daycare and medical because let's be real, you need those kind of perks if you are asking people to come in and slaughter chickens 8 hours a day. They had a daycare director, this beloved woman who had been in the U.S. for years. She's from Russia. She was here seeking asylum and had pending status. She's a poet, basically like Dr. Seuss with immigration paperwork. Kids were in there learning haikus while their parents made hot dogs. Adorable, right? Well, guess what? My client had to let her go, and her husband, who also works for an American manufacturer. So now they're self-deporting to Austria. These companies literally foot canvas. They go to high schools. They're posting jobs. They're doing grassroots campaigns like politicians, like, hey, I'm here for your vote, or at least for your 18-year-old. Does he want to come in and debone a chicken? And shocker, American kids don't want these jobs. Nobody is lining up to spend 8 hours a day turning cows into steaks. And when they do, they last for about a day, maybe two. Even with good pay, medical, and with free daycare run by a frickin' poet. Not exactly the career path that your career counselor is guiding your kid at high school, right? And so, yeah, we only added 22,000 jobs in August. No shit, because companies are in survival mode. They have zero confidence that they can make business decisions without batshit crazy administration yanking the rug out from them every single day. They're like trying to run a marathon on a freaking treadmill and it keeps getting unplugged. If you think that it is painful now at the grocery checkout line, oh boy, you are in for it. You are in for it, because we haven't even talked about the farmers that are either declaring bankruptcy or at an alarming rate. This goddamn administration is screwing manufacturing when that's all they talk about is bring manufacturing back. They're screwing you, they're screwing me, the farmer, the manufacturer, and you know what? Our economy it's not good. It is not good. So let me ask you, is America great again?
I was the one that reported the information that I had to ICE.
So just to be clear, what you're proud of is hundreds of people being ripped out of a Georgia factory in one of the biggest ICE raids in history. 475 people, most of them South Koreans, were detained. And here's the thing. Hyundai already confirmed none of them even worked directly for Hyundai. Hyundai, that's how you pronounce it, by the way. They were subcontractors. Many were here on expired visas, not illegals hiding in the shadows like you're trying to sell. Translation? You didn't even expose some massive criminal conspiracy. You just disrupted lives, families, and jobs, and you're bragging on here online like it's a badge of honor. Maybe instead of clout chasing ICE, you should chase a history book.
It's the largest raid in U.S. history. 475 workers arrested at a construction site in Georgia. All of these people were construction workers or construction managers building an electric battery plant for Hyundai. All were South Koreans. Governor Kemp of Georgia actively solicited South Korea to spend billions of dollars to build this plant. ICE is proud of themselves. They arrested 475 people, but this exposes a huge conflict in our government right now. Donald Trump is running around the world making deals with countries. And the deal is invest money in the United States and you can avoid tariffs. Yet at the same time, after they invest their billions of dollars, Donald Trump is deporting the workers needed to build the infrastructure to support these investments from these countries. Take, for example, the U.S. battery industry, the actual factory where all these workers were arrested from. Trump is asking to build more battery factories in the United States. Yet 82% of industry leaders said in a recent survey that the United States lacks skilled workers to build these factories and operate these factories. And hundreds of thousands of jobs remain unfilled right now in the United States. So we're asking for investment. We don't have workers to build this investment. We're deporting the workers who are already here that are helping to build these investments. Tariffs are going up. And what countries are going to want to invest in the U.S. if we're arresting their citizens and deporting them?
I thought we were friends with South Korea. But this raid in Georgia, y'all, this affects more than just that little area in Georgia, because Hyundai employs so many people in the South, especially in Alabama, central and south central Alabama, my little town. If they come raiding around and all these people in my town don't have a job, because what are we doing? Do you have a plan? Is there a plan in place? Because this is an ally of ours who was kind enough to bring a manufacturing plant to give a lot of people around here jobs. And now we're attacking their manufacturing facilities. Can't you just call them and go, are we not working with these people? What is happening exactly? And Alabama politicians, listen to me very carefully. Nobody is going to care about Space Force up in Huntsville if nobody south of Montgomery has a job anymore.
Trump administration authorized a massive ICE raid on the Hyundai plant in Georgia. 475 workers were detained. Most of them were South Korean citizens. The White House claimed that ICE was just enforcing the law. If you're here for the facts, tap like and follow. This wasn't a normal operation. It was dubbed Operation Low Voltage. It was the largest single-site immigration enforcement in Homeland Security history. ICE agents showed up with armored vehicles and a helicopter circling the $4.3 billion construction site. They detained 475 people, shackling them at the wrists, waist, and ankles before loading them onto a bus. The Trump administration says these workers were illegal aliens. Here's some details. Over 300 were South Korean nationals, here as subcontractors for Hyundai and LG. ICE stated that they were working on a short-term visitor visa or under the visa waiver program, which doesn't authorize employment. Trump's team says it's about protecting American jobs. Here's the thing though, this raid happened just weeks after Donald Trump held a friendly summit with the South Korea's president to celebrate economic ties. South Korea, a critical ally, was blindsided. Their government convened an emergency meeting and called the US release a video showing their citizens in shackles regrettable. And honestly, this should be a massive wake-up call for any Asian American who thinks they're white adjacent or a model minority status will protect them. You are delusional. The Trump administration doesn't give a fuck. Their vision of America is narrow. If you are not white and from a specific background, you are a target. They don't care if you're an engineer from an allied nation building a US factory. They saw an opportunity to send a message about who they believe truly belongs here. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share.
So you really want us to believe that the FBI, the CIA, ICE, the DEA, and the Georgia State Police are all required like the fucking Power Rangers to pull up to a Hyundai plant and detain over 300 Korean workers, all for the sake of national security? No! This is all intentionally done. Trump is doing these ICE raids to go after his enemies. That's why he's targeting blue states and blue cities like Chicago. That's why he's going after the people that he knows directly gets in the way of him trying to enact this fucking dictatorship right in front of our eyes. This authoritative regime that Trump is trying to enact before he dies, he's going further and further to the extremes so that he can see this, because he knows that he doesn't have that much time left. And if he can't get you locked up with these ICE raids, he wants to get you locked up under your debt. Hyundai is being targeted because they're not an American company, and they're known for their ability to provide affordable cars. That's like their whole thing in the auto industry. That's their brand. That's the history of their brand. That's what they've been known for. But Trump doesn't want you to care about that, because y'all don't care about that. Y'all thought y'all was gonna get freed by a stimulus check, right? Fuck out of here.
Let's take it from the top. It's not Hyundai, it's Hyundai. So if you're going to report anything to ICE, at least know the freaking name of it. Number two, in the first Trump administration, there was an agreement signed between Donald Trump and the South Koreans to bring some of their car manufacturing here to the United States. The South Koreans built a factory in the state of Georgia, and recently they have been adding to it, partnering with one of America's companies, LG, to produce electric vehicles, which would have brought billions to the state of Georgia and to the entirety of the United States and put a lot of people to work. Something you MAGA supporters are always complaining about. All of our manufacturing is being shipped overseas. And now that it's back in the United States, you want to open up your big fat Oopa Loopa mouth to ICE to get these people deported. And now all work has had to cease. And we've just damaged our relationship with one of our closest partners in Asia. I mean, do you people not think? It's this type of ignorance and silliness that got us Donald Trump in the first place, because you people just blindly do stuff. And now you just cost the state of Georgia jobs and money. I mean, what a stupid mother...
I don't know what everyone's getting excited about. It's just more arrests on people that are here illegally. I think the Trump administration is saying it doesn't matter. We're showing you very clearly that this is not racism against the Hispanic community. Doesn't matter, Hispanic, Muslim, or Korean, just like what's going on down in Georgia. 400 plus people pulled out of a Hyundai plant, Korean nationals. And he's just saying that you are here illegally, which means by the definition of the United States of America, that you are a criminal. And there will be no sanctuary for you. There will be no hiding. And if you get caught, you are going to be deported, whether it's back to Mexico, over to Canada, over to the Middle East, over to Africa, or over to our friends over in South Korea. Look, if I can give one bit of advice, get the process going. If you want to be a citizen of the United States of America, do whatever you have to do, but let's get the ball rolling. This administration doesn't have a crystal ball. It can't decipher from the good people to the bad people. If we could, then all the bad people were gone, and we would let all the good people continue to chase the American dream. I truly am rooting for all of you. I'd love to see nothing more than all of you become citizens of the United States of America, but we have to do it the proper way. And if you do achieve that dream, at midnight, he'll be the first one here with open arms, ready to give you a big hug and say welcome to the United States of America.
So there were 452 illegals apprehended at the Hyundai mega plant construction site yesterday near Savannah. And I was the one that reported the information that I had to ICE. But it goes beyond just someone working illegally. Let me explain to you. These people are working for slave wages. Some are not getting paid. Some are being trafficked. They send money home to their country. They give money to their handler. They have hardly anything left. They live in homes 5 families deep, have no quality of life. It's modern day slavery. So if you think that ICE is just going in and ripping people out of their jobs, these hardworking people that want a better life, well, guess what? Politicians have really screwed these people, because when they came here, they thought they were, hey, the border's open, we're coming in, we're going to get the 5-star treatment, and we can go to the big Walmart, and we can live in a 5-star hotel, and that's just not how it is. It's very bad conditions, very inhumane, and the Biden administration started a humanitarian crisis. So y'all can't just look at it like they're ripping good people off the job. They're probably saving their lives in the long run. I just want to say thank you to all the numerous people who have trolled my phone and my campaign website and made threats. You're really showing me exactly what I thought you were anyway. But let me be clear, most of y'all don't even know the difference in what Congress and Senate is. You don't know when the primary is, and you also don't realize that I'm in a hard Republican district. 22 counties, only 1 is Democrat. So if you're going to threaten that I'll lose my race because y'all want to cry on the internet and harass people, well, I simply won't. And this lady gave me great advertisement. I'm just glad she knew how to spell correctly. What it should have said is Tory Branham believes in following the law. Yes, my face is all over Reddit, Korean news, TikTok. I'm getting harassed, and I'm unbothered because I stand on my truth. So y'all need to learn when you're going to harass a political candidate exactly what that means. And you're really just doing me a favor with the advertisement. But another thing is, I said I contacted ICE and I spoke to the agent. I didn't say I was the sole reason that the raid happened, but I'll double down. I'm glad it happened because I probably saved lives of people that worked out there. And like I said, we put a $5 billion investment into that factory and gave them $32 million in tax cuts, and Georgians were never hired, and contractors, good contract labor was overlooked for illegals.
So quietly and systemically understanding the events that followed, according to the woman, what she's saying, there's no logical sense, because I'm trying to gather any logical sense to what she was portraying, but I find none. Why am I finding none? Because she does not have that humane understanding, right? She does not have empathy, right? She does not have an understanding that these people who have been deported are family members. Maybe there's a father, maybe there's a mother, and she has gone ahead and made them get deported. She lacks that empathy, which is something I say is very, very crucial. Empathy is what makes us humans, right? Empathy is what makes us, it's what makes me love you, it's what makes you love me, it's what makes us respect each other's lives, properties, and our neighbors, right? So you've seen that not every white person, or rather not every Trump supporter, supports what she has done, right? She thinks and she feels that these people came to invade her privacy. She feels that something that was belonging to her is being taken away. Now, here's where I ask the question. If those workers were just working, and they were doing their own things. How does it harm you as a woman? Is it because you are trying to be good to the president to show that you are a good working human being, right? It's like a dog. You train it how to, you throw something and it runs and it brings it back. So it's like being like that dog, right? Trying to show yourself in the best image to your boss so that you gain favor. But who is really losing here? Who is the person that is really losing? That is a question that I think the woman should ask herself a lot, right? It's a question she should ask herself really, really much. Because this company was employing US citizens, right? It was employing people, and it was generating income, and this income was taxable, and this taxable income from the tax, the US could develop themselves, could build their roads, build their schools. You see, collectively, these people were helping, and they were also trying to find a way of living, right? Also, these people were trying to curb, they were trying to put an end to unemployment, right? Because if there's a company, our single person can't work there. Hyundai is a very big company. They can decide to use robots, but they decided to use the US citizens. What happens next? It bites them on their neck. It's now become something inhuman. I can say this is just lack of love and racism. This is a lack of love and racism that I smell and I see here. If we can love one another in such a way that we can look past our color and our hair texture, many problems we can solve with that. Very many problems we can solve with that. So nobody should come here and nobody should say that white racism, that America has racism.